Russell Wilson has been named the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their second preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. I got plenty of thoughts on this, including what I want to see out of Russ and what I believe this does for the Steelers quarterback competition. But I'll ask you first, what are you looking for in Russ this weekend? You got a checklist, or you got anything that you want to see out of the Steelers' presumed starting quarterback?
Yeah, this is going to be the first time we get to see him in some game competition. Obviously, you saw him today in the joint practice, but this is the first time that the majority of the fan base is going to see Russell Wilson in full uniform actually playing, not just holding a clipboard, wanting to be in the full regalia like he was last week. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do, and I'm excited to see how he fits in this offense going up against live reps from an opposing defense that they haven't seen all that much. I know they had today, but compared to the 3.5 weeks that the Steelers defense have been able to be on the other side of things, I'm intrigued to see how Arthur Smith's offense meshes with Russell Wilson. The one thing that I'm looking for is, how does that play action get utilized early? That was something last year that, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they tried to establish the run. And Matt Canada would always say, well, we need to establish the run to make it actually effective when we decide to do a play action. Arthur Smith knows that that's not the case. You can run a play action on the second play of the game, and it could be just as effective as in the fourth quarter. So I'm excited to see how Russell Wilson does with those play actions and how many times it's utilized in his first couple of series.
Yeah, I agree. So for those of you who didn't catch Mike Tomlin's press conference, Russell Wilson is expected to play roughly 4 series along with the rest of the starters on the Pittsburgh Steelers, both sides of the football. He'll get out there with almost all of the starters, and I expect Zach Frazier to be the starting center, which is, that's massive for the Steelers. That's a huge day. And let me tell you this. We're going to dive into joint practice notes here in a little bit. Zach Frazier pancaked a man today. I don't know who it was. I don't know what number it was, but in that moment, I was like, Zach Frazier might be the best offensive lineman that the Pittsburgh Steelers have on this roster. He looks that good lately. It's crazy. You're going to get the starters, and I think that's good for Russ, because even in practice, even with his return, he hasn't gotten all of the first team reps. I want to see what he does for an entire, hey, this is 4 series, maybe this is an entire quarter. How are we looking? How do you connect with these guys? Play action's a massive one for me. I agree with that one, especially if you could get Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren going early, maybe a little bit of Cordero Patterson in this game, which would be very nice to see. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever found yourself scrolling on social media, maybe spending too much time on whatever platform you're addicted to, and thinking, man, why am I feeling down? Why do I find myself not finding the joy that social media is supposed to give me? That's because comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. But therapy can help. It can help you focus on what you want instead of what other people have, so you can start living your best life. I'm somebody who's advocated for therapy for a long time. You constantly see me wearing the sweatshirt, going to therapy is cool. I've reaped the benefits for years, and I think everybody who's thinking about it should add that to their agenda as well, because in one way or another, it's very helpful. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/allsteelers today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/allsteelers. But yeah, what I'm looking for in Russell Wilson and what I expect from Russell Wilson. So I expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to be much more run heavy than they were in the last game, simply because they don't want Russ to have a bunch of opportunities to showcase himself, because quite frankly, I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers don't want Russ to, 1, get hurt, and 2, make some massive mistakes that draw national crazy headlines. And you could say, oh, that's dramatic. It's not. The Pittsburgh Steelers certainly think like this. They do it all the time. Dante Jackson was fully dressed on the sideline today, didn't take a single snap. You want to know why? Because Corey Trice is out here trying to earn himself a job, and they're saying, okay, if Dante's on the sideline, Corey could get first team reps without this becoming is Corey Trice taking over as the first team corner next to Joey Porter Jr. They understand what they're doing. They're very well aware of what is going on and what happens. Okay, when it comes to Russ, I expect a lot of run-heavy games. But I expect Russ to have opportunities to showcase that he could fluently move the football. And that means short passes to Pat Freiermuth, getting George Pickens open, throwing good passes to Van Jefferson. Hopefully, we get some connections with Calvin Austin because, I mean, he's been bragging about Calvin Austin all offseason. I just think it's a good opportunity to get a flow going, but I don't expect it to be, I felt in the 2 series that Justin Fields had, the Steelers utilized Justin Fields. They look to use and see what they have in Justin Fields. I don't expect that with Russ. I expect this to be more running back centric. How heavy can we go? Add a little bit more run flair in there and less throwing the football, simply because if that's where their offense is going to go in the regular season, they want to test out with Russell Wilson. I mean, do you think I don't want to ask, do you think I'm wrong, but can you still get a perspective of Russ in a run-heavy offense?
Yeah, because I think that's what it's going to be this season, right? It's Arthur Smith.
Yes, exactly.
He's going to lean on the run first. And that doesn't matter if it's Russell Wilson, if it's Justin Fields, if it's Kyle Allen, or if it's John Rice Plumlee. It's going to be run first.
Yes, sir. John Rice Plumlee, not to interrupt you, I apologize, but John Rice Plumlee got a shout out from Andy Weidel today. And if the assistant GM knows who you are, man, people know who you are. Shout out John Rice Plumlee. As a quarterback. Got a shout out as a quarterback.
That's true. I was going to say potential backup kick returner, maybe. We'll have to see.
Wide receiver / personal protector on punts. I mean, this guy does it all.
He can do it all. So, I mean, no matter who it is, though, it's a run-heavy, run-first offense. So I'm not surprised if they go out and do that this weekend because, again, how many times has Mike Tomlin said this preseason? We know what Russ is, right? We know what Russ can bring. We know what Russ is about. We know what his strengths are. We know what his weaknesses are. Arthur Smith knows all of that, and it's a preseason game. So they're already going to be running a pretty vanilla offense. So I'm not going to be surprised at all if they end up being run-centric in the first 4 drives.
Okay, so let me ask you the important questions here. How bad does Russ have to look for this to become a competition again?
He would have to, I would say, at least turn the ball over once. And then Justin would also have to be extremely, extremely effective in whatever amount of series he ends up getting.
I think Justin plays, if 4 series goes the first quarter, I expect Justin to play the entire second quarter. That's how I view it. I think Justin gets the whole second quarter either way, and those 4 series will determine how quickly he gets out there on the field. 1 turnover might be I think maybe multiple. Like, you got to look. Russ has got to look real bad. Like, we have to only be talking about how bad Russ looks on Sunday morning for this to become a real competition with Justin Fields again. Although Justin's looked good. He had a good day here at the joint practice. He's had a couple of good days. Still, this is just in the eyes of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russ is going to have to look real, real bad